Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Munster show. And we are here at the new digs for WJOB, FM, AM 104.7, 1230 AM. And my name is David Nellens. I'm one of the councilmen for the Town of Munster. I've been hosting this show for a number of years. And I do have a guest today, and I've always said that I'm proud of that. We have Jim Marino is here, and he's our town manager. And we're going to be talking about a number of things. But anyway, this is Tuesday, January 6th, and it's in the morning. And this brings back some memories for me being in this studio. Just this exact area, I started with Mike Mellon, who started doing some shows here due to the fact that we had the flooding going on in town. And I was asked to come in and get involved and do a little bit of the show. And I thought it was just radio. So I wasn't quite coming in my pajamas, but I was really casual. And then next thing I know, there's video there. So I learned that at that time you'd put a sport coat on and sort of clean up a little bit. But it was in this area, in this actual exact space. But anyway, that goes back to 2008. And Jim Delo has been involved with us and helped us. At that time, he was helping MC the program, and now we've learned to be our own MC and get things started. But anyway, it just brings back memories, and they are working on getting things set up here, the building rehabbed and set up. This is located here behind Smith Chevrolet. Give them a plug. And when you're going up and down the boulevard. But anyway, that's kind of the history of my being involved here with WJOB. And I have always enjoyed doing the show. So anyway, we got Jim here. And we've had some meetings. Jim's been our town manager since April, did I hear you say?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you've gotten your feet wet, been walking around, checking on things, obviously. We've had some excitement, no major problems. But anyway, we had a council meeting last night, and one of the big items that came up was a fire truck. And they were talking about that the old fire truck was 24 years old, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. That truck was bought during my first term on the council. So I was involved in voting for that truck, and we had a big discussion last night. And Jim, if you want to kind of enlighten the folks here, what's all involved with this new truck?
Sure. Well, the life cycle of a truck like that, an apparatus, is about 20 years. In the town have been planning on replacing it for a few years now and using bond money. So it was earmarked for a replacement. In the process to purchase a ladder truck like that is pretty involved. It requires planning and pre-ordering because when you order it, it could take up to 3 years to actually have it delivered because we get in line at the manufacturer with all the other fire departments in the country that have ordered them. So it could take up to 3 years. And the cost is quite a bit. So we estimate if we waited and purchased it and had it delivered in about 3 years, it would have cost about $2.7 million.
Wow. And, I want to say that the original truck was in the neighborhood of $1 million, $1.2 million or so.
Right.
So it's obviously in 24 years, the cost has gone up like everything else. And it's something that I think is important for our community to do. We've got high-rise buildings, and we need to have the equipment to help and handle a fire. And kind of my thoughts on this is that I want Munster to be a leader. I want to help set the pace. We do that on many of the things that we do in town. And yes, we are involved with mutual aid. All the communities get together and help each other. And it really makes things work a lot better when you have that. But still, you need to have your own equipment and to be able to go out and help. We can help other communities. We can do things in our community. And as you say, it's important to have equipment that's serviceable and I believe the American La France is out of business.
Right.
So it's more difficult to get things repaired. You got to scrounge around, or somebody's got to fabricate it, and it takes time. And that puts the fire apparatus out of service.
And that happened to us a few years ago, where it went out of service. I think it was out of service for about 120 days because it was being repaired. And as you said, the company went out of business, so we had some difficulty getting parts. And we don't want that to happen again, obviously.
No.
We've got multi-story buildings, and we have to be prepared, to be able to respond to calls. We can't rely on mutual aid to be the first responder. That's our responsibility.
No, we have to show up with the hoses and the equipment so that we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
The last night we also had an opportunity to witness 4 new police officers being sworn in.
Yes, usually we only have 1 or 2 at a time that are sworn in. But our staffing level was a little low because of people leaving, retirements, those types of things. So we had the opportunity to hire 4 to bring us up to the staffing level we had planned to be at. So, yeah, they were all at the meeting last night and got sworn in. They'll go through their training, and at the academy they'll go through field training. And should be on their own later this year on the streets.
Right, because they generally aren't able to just walk in. We want them to know how we do things, have them bring up, they come from the academy and that. And I'm going to just say this, that in my first year here, this current term, we made some changes for the police department. We raised their wages. We also went to and voted to provide them with take-home vehicles. Before we had done that, when they hung out a shingle looking for officers, maybe nobody showed up, maybe 1. Now I understand that I think this last time there might have been 40 applications or 50. While they all may not be up to speed to be able to be considered to be hired, at least we had an opportunity to look through applications. So by making those changes, and I feel very proud of that, the fact that we took a situation that we weren't getting candidates, and I kind of look at it, if you hang your shingle out and nobody applies, there's something wrong.
Right.
Obviously, there's something wrong, whether it's a lousy job or the pay or whatever, and I believe we address those issues. And again, we're getting good results. Munster's a good community. We want it to stay that way. And we have more activity coming to town all the time. And but again, I was very proud to have those 4 officers sworn in, along with the rest of the officers. They do a great job. And, it's just, we have many great departments. I'm going to bring up one that with the Public Works and their snowplow. I mean, that's been the goal of Munster, to be plowed, to be the leader. People say, I know when I'm in Munster because the streets are clear.
Right.
And that one day we had a big storm. I left from here and went far east, and the roads were terrible, just terrible, piled up and packed up, and it was slippery and everything else. But Munster, we buy the equipment. And even there, we're talking about the fire truck in 3 years. My first year on the council, we had a dump truck that was ordered 3 years prior, and we needed to confirm that purchase and reauthorize the money to be spent. And there was some discussion. I don't know, should we approve this? I don't know about that big dump truck. I says, well, here's the deal. We need it. It is now here for us. If we turn this down and say no, and then we order another one, it's 3 years away.
Right.
So that's the choice. The one that finally we've been waiting for is here. Take it, or you're going to wait 3 more years to get one. And it's been hard to even find manufacturers that have open slots to do that. Anyway, you have to be smart in your decisions and make sure that you're making the right decision, but you want to make sure that you're doing things that is best for the community. And part of my philosophy has been, I want to buy the right equipment for the job. Now, I can go back and tell all kinds of stories about different things, but we want to make sure that our departments have the right equipment that it's functional, and when they put the key in the ignition, it starts.
Right. Public Works does a great job. They did a great job with the plowing. We had that storm that I think was a little earlier in the season than we expected, but they did a great job. And like you said, they have the equipment. We've been able to provide them with the equipment they need, the snow plows, but also street sweepers, leaf blowers, leaf vacuums.
Leaf vacs, I think we got, 6 units or something, if I recall?
Right.
And they're all out right now because that early snow trapped a lot of leaves.
Yeah, it all became frozen, so they got stopped in picking those up. So they're restarting now that it's warming up.
So that's going on. Also, there's been some damage along the roads and lawns and things with the snow plowing. But Munster has a philosophy that come spring, when it's appropriate, we'll go back and repair all that.
Yeah. We have a restoration program. You're going to have that situation when there's some damage, to parkways, but that's expected. We try to minimize it, but we go back in the spring and we restore those areas.
Yes, we do. I've got a note here that we're talking about street repairs, and we're going to continue repairing streets and redoing them. Mm-hmm. And we've had some water main breaks, and part of the goal is we identify where the breaks are and where they're very prevalent. We're setting up that road, and if it meets the Pacer rating for being in bad shape, and we've got the bad water mains, we're digging them all out.
Right. That's part of the road improvement program. When we're going to resurface roads, if we're going to reconstruct roads, we look at the water main, we look at the sewer system, and if it needs replacement or repair, we do it at that time. But we also have a program where we have leak detection. We have a company come out and they try to detect leaks. That way we can pinpoint where there may be a break and then go in proactively and make a repair on the water main.
Okay, that's very interesting. I didn't know that we had that. So
right.
That's good. I know there's some work going along Schoon Ditch, and I did ask. It was there on Fisher. One lane was closed just north of Community Hospital, and it made traffic a little difficult to go through there. But they're going in and they're digging all the muck out, and they're going to go from Calumet Avenue east all the way to where the new Bridges Over Ditches is going next to Highland there. And so folks will see that equipment going on, and they're cleaning out debris and
right. But that's not a town project.
Right, it's a county
project. So they're taking care of that.
And I've got a note here, South Shore. Now, folks know me for any time. I'm a train buff, and I like trains. And they've been running some testing. And Jim, you were talking about maybe when they might be operational.
They've told us that the first quarter of this year, they're going to start revenue operations. They consider the track live now. They're not running trains, regularly, but, they've done the testing. They're still doing some additional testing. But I hope to hear from them in the next couple of weeks on when they actually expect to start revenue service.
Because I know they did that testing. They also brought in 2 large locomotives and a coach,
right.
And they ran that back and forth, which gave it the extra weight. That's more weight than you would have with the electric coaches.
Right. The other component, too, is the quiet zones are in place now on Ridge Road and Fisher. I know that was a big concern that we wanted to make sure we had the quiet zones in place. That was an involved process. We have to go through the federal government to get that approved. But so that'll be in place now too.
And we've got double gates or unmountable barriers to keep cars from going around.
Right.
But it's exciting to have the train. We've seen it in the construction down at the south end of town. Lots of sold that were kind of hanging around. Houses are being built. I've been informed that houses that were put up for sale sold quickly. People that want to have the train are coming, and it's going to be an exciting time. I'm looking forward to when the train's going to be running. I'm hoping that I can get an opportunity to ride the first train that leaves from Munster and goes up to Hammond, wherever they take us. And but again, that's just exciting to have all that happening. We've got the 2 stations, the one just north of Ridge, there on Manor, and then we've got the one at the south end that's between Munster and Dyer. and that has a lot of parking down there, so we're anticipating a lot of use of that.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, so it's going to be exciting once it's starting to operate.
Talking about just interaction with the public, I wanted to make an announcement that on January 21st, and we're figuring about 6 p.m. in the evening, we're going to have coffee with the council again. We've had one of them here early in December, and we're going to have the railroad people, NICD, come in and do a presentation that you're more than welcome to come to the town hall. We're going to have coffee and donuts and a relaxing interaction with NICD as to what's going on, how the train's going to be set up, and also the council members will be there. And Jim, I think you may very well likely, you'll be there, and have the opportunity on an informal basis for the residents to come and talk and ask questions and see what's going on. The last one was very informative, and we had a number of residents. And it's just a good thing. And we also had some applications come in for the different boards and commissions. And we've been reviewing those, and we're going to have some appointments that at the next council meeting we're going to be making on the different boards and commissions. Jim, you and I were talking about Maple Leaf Crossing.
Right. So that project is still under construction. It's nearing completion. There was a little delay in it, but it's moving along quickly now.
COVID kind of messed up a lot of things, and I don't want to throw that out as an excuse, but you didn't have people, and you weren't able to get materials and this and that, and people were unsure of how they could interact with each other, and it just messed up things.
It did, and there were some changes that the developer had to the design and the plan and the landscaping. So whenever that happens, it has to be reevaluated by staff, go through the process. So that slowed things down a little bit. But as you said, there was delays in construction, but things are moving along much better now.
And it's a good location. We just had some junk buildings there. Wonder Bread had been back there years ago, and it was just kind of a real eclectic area, and there wasn't any real formal design. It had been built back in the 50s, some of that mid-century modern stuff. And I think the developer has done a lot there, Jay Leeser. The buildings that he has are all occupied once they're finished up, and he's got folks that want to go in there. And I know there's been some discussion about an underpass on Calumet Avenue, and that's still something that we're talking about. But I want to point out that Maple Leaf Crossing is far enough north that north road between them and Pepsi will be up on the level. The underpass, I've seen the drawings, and we had looked at that before. The drawings show that the road elevation starts going down south of that entrance, so there'll still be access to that area. And it's sort of a destination location. It'll sort of be an impulse stop, but we've got that going on. We've got Centennial Village. There's some activity still going on there.
Right. The developer's been making some modification to his plan, but he's got a proposal for a grocery store, a bank, some other retail outlets. That's going through the review process and the planning commission and zoning board. So we're expecting the developer to provide some additional information.
And I know we're looking at an intersection that will be east of 45th and Calumet on 45th, and I'm lobbying for a signaled intersection as opposed to a roundabout. Right. And I know that's...
Yeah, that's been one of the lengthy conversations with staff and with the developer. You know, what's the best approach? So we've had traffic engineers looked at it to determine whether it's better to have a traffic signal there or a roundabout. There's pros and cons to each. The developer has to provide some additional information so we can do further analysis. So that has yet to be decided which approach we're going to go with.
And unfortunately, it's close to Calumet Avenue, so you don't have a real stack up area, right. But it is what it is. It's there, and we need to have that because in order to access that north property, exit the south property, it needs to be done. Jim, I was going to ask you, what do you kind of see for the future of Munster?
Well, we talked about the train coming through. So that's a great opportunity. So I foresee some new developments on Ridge Road as related to that train coming in. I'm looking forward to more economic development, completion of Maple Leaf Crossing, Centennial Village, but some additional retail development, hopefully on Calumet and Ridge Road. We're spending a lot of time and money on infrastructure improvements. We issued a bond for water improvements.
Mm-hmm.
And issued a bond for street improvements. So the next 3 to 5 years, residents are going to see a lot of improvements with the water system, sewer system, and roads, resurfacing and rebuilding roads.
There we go. And then I use the term Munster's a medical mecca.
Right.
And we've got a lot of medical businesses, medical operations coming to town. We have 2 world-class hospitals, so that brings more activity. Mm-hmm. We have surgery centers that are going in. We have doctors' offices going in. There's, a new immediate care facility on Calumet Avenue. There's a expansion of the Franciscan Hospital there. Community Hospital's been doing a lot of things, and I think it's good business. We had Munster Steel there for many years, and that was kind of a dungy mill-type operation. Now we've got clean buildings and clean operation. They offer a lot of jobs, good jobs, clean jobs, and people come to Munster now because they're doctors here.
Right.
And we offer services in town that rival what they have in Chicago, where folks had to go to Chicago before to get treatments and taken care of. They now can get that here in Munster. Mm-hmm. So I think, with good leadership, a good hand on the rudder, we're going to keep moving forward.
Definitely. And having the hospitals, that brings people into town, obviously, and there's a ripple effect with that.
Yes.
Because if they come into town, they're going to go to, other places, restaurants, go for other services.
Absolutely, and that will help support all those activities. And anyway, I think it's good. Mm-hmm. We've had a good show here today. And, Jim, I want to thank you for being here.
Definitely.
And, we're at the historic area for WJOB. So thank you very much, Adriana, for coaching us through this. And thank you all for listening, and have a great day now.